Good times and a great music at 2NURFM 103.7 as we bring in our Professor of Education from the University of Newcastle, John Fischetti, who, for some reason today, John, you've actually brought along your phone, which has a whole stack of music in, which we'll be actually looking through in a little while.
Yeah, Mark, I want to challenge the notion that that music, and particularly all the creative and performing arts, are somehow separate from literacy, numeracy, and the core of the rest of the curriculum. In fact, they're integrated so much that if we did more of that, we'd actually get that deep learning we're hoping to get with our children.
Now, hang on a minute. We're keeping our phones in school with music? Maybe that's not quite exactly where we're going. But no. So the relationship being that we can remember music that we, from a long, long time ago, we probably know the words, we know the song from pretty much the get-go, but yet things that we may have learnt and put that hardcore time into, they just fly out the window. So firstly, why is that? And then why is the rule not the case when it comes to music?
So as I've talked to you before, and our audience will remember by heart by now, we're 100...
Now they'll have forgotten because you didn't sing it.
100 billion neurons when we're born, and 15,000 are added every day. And by the time we get to year 4, 5, and 6, we're this electrical impulse of billions in our brains ready to be inspired. But it takes stimulus, and that stimulus is really personified when our senses get involved, whether it's touch, whether it's taste, whether it's smell. You liked the edible lessons, I bet, back in the day, particularly when music or drama are incorporated. Absolutely phenomenal things happen where it actually loads a memory because of the multisensory aspect of it and makes it more like in the hard drive of our brain rather than on the floppy drive of the old computer. Because of that, if we really want people to learn things, we wrap music around it, they will never forget it. Want to do a test?
Absolutely. So now the first one's not for me. This is the one for our listener at home to have a listen to.
Let's do one. We'll let it go about 5 or 6 seconds as opposed to the ones in a minute. So this is one for the audience that I think everyone will know. I'd like everybody to think not only what the title of the song is, the artist, but what's the first line of the song. And we'll let this just go just long enough that I think everyone will hear it pretty well.
Easy. Very
so
easy.
I think almost every Australian over 10 would know that song. We'll let everybody play it out. So who's the artist?
Oh, it's Land Down Under. That's the song. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Down Under, it's Men at Work. But what's the first line of that song?
You know what? I can't remember.
So most people, I come from a land down under, but actually it's traveling in a fried out combi.
There you go.
And then you have to do, for the younger kids, they might not know what a fried out combi
That's
looks
another
like.
Story, yeah.
That old VW bus that looked like it might not make it but 1 kilometer more. Isn't it amazing? Now, you haven't played that song this morning that I know of, and yet almost every Australian would tell you that's Men at Work, it's Down Under, and it's almost a national anthem of sorts, right? And the rest of the world knows Australia because of that, that even though it's not very recent, is it?
True.
All right. So if we were thinking about nothing and a song comes on, how is it that the artist, the title, the first line are right there standing by? And how come it is what we ate for lunch yesterday or the chemistry periodic table or other things are like long gone? And the power of music is just incredible. This will sort of quiz you because I know this is what you do, Mark, but it's also because your brain is wired to remember music.
Right, so I don't get the Down Under test. I get somebody else.
You're going to get 3 in a row here, and I bet you get them all. You'll get brilliant.
You'll probably pick something very obscure to throw me off and make me look silly.
There's no way I wouldn't do that to you.
Right.
You're the star of the show.
Yeah, well, okay. That's Dancing in the Dark by The Boss. Easy.
But that was, I might have gotten 3 notes out, right? So we'll just, for the rest of the audience, sort of.
Yep, pretty easy.
But if I had played the first lines of a speech from Howard when he was prime minister, you might have taken a little longer, right?
Yeah, unless it was one of those key little tiny snippets that everybody knows. Right. But you're right.
Churchill's speech, which we might have known from back in the day. All right, but right there on your fingertips is that.
That's one, yeah.
You probably can't tell me your driver's license number.
I think the first 2 numbers are 1, double 1, but that's
don't give it away. The audience will rip into your account. But think about those things which are our information we'd have to look up.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you want another one? Here we go.
Here we go.
We got 1 for 1 so far. That's the King Elvis Presley. All Shook Up.
Incredible, isn't
Easy.
it? Now,
Easy.
he's not cheating here. This is not a
I can't
drill.
see your phone.
No, they haven't figured this out. But right there in Mark's memory are thousands of songs. The first couple notes get played, and it's right there. Yet the other stuff you learned in school is long gone. Not because of you. It's all of us.
Yeah, it's amazing how this works, isn't it? Because you're right. I mean, no study. Yeah,
Just to help our audience in case
Sure.
they did. It's pretty incredible.
And it's amazing because no study required for those. And you probably, sure, we listen to our favourite songs probably a little bit over our lifetime, but certainly not as often as you think. Right. I mean, that goes for, 2 minutes, 10 seconds. I mean, it's not often in the span of your entire life that you're actually going through that 2 minutes. So.
And even if it's not what you do for a living, which is to play music, it's for all of us. It becomes that universal memory tool that if we built mnemonic devices, that's memory teasers, something like EGBDF in music. Every good boy does fine.
Yep.
Oh, there's other
we had deserves fruit. Yep.
Deserves fruit, whatever it is. You'll never forget the scale. AGBDF.
So how do we? So, I mean, the idea is that here's some real life data we've got. I know we've done the silly version today. But how do we sort of build that into general education to sort of get these themes, these styles, if you will, into other forms of education, so they can have that cut through and we can keep that knowledge longer?
Well, the connection between music and math has not been fully proven, but one is that we learn music with math alongside of that, which is pretty interesting. We learn drama with literacy, that you're actually acting out stories, and you'll never forget the stories you told through drama, or you'll never forget the math you learn with music. The other is like in year 2, everybody does piano, and they become think musically, which is a different part of the brain we're really accessing to connect everything. And we become sort of that notion of a whole brain learner. That is pretty easy to conceive of. And the other is that in our assessments, we let people write a poem about it or sing a song about it or demonstrate it through a speech, something which creates a performance, incorporates the arts, as opposed to just the rote memory stuff, which actually doesn't get rote or memory. Here's one more for audience. We're just going to prove 3 for 3. Mark's going to have a really good Wednesday today.
We'll see. It's Billy Joel, and it's Just the Way You Are.
That may not have been loud enough for audience. Let me try this out.
Yeah. So I'm 3 for 3.
3 for 3 within 2-3 notes. And I'm guessing if we had all of our audience and I picked an array of songs, even if they weren't on their playlist, they would know 80 to 90% of them for no reason except music is this universal language we have to promote more of. So my recommendation is incorporate music into your life, listen to 2NUR, but also find ways that in the other things you do, build music into it. On a road trip, you can be singing the directions. You never forget the things. I taught my daughter her address when she was very young by making a tune-up about it. And she still knows that address better than her current one because we wrote a song about it back when she was 4 years old.
That's amazing stuff, an amazing new way of looking at things. The thing that amazed me the most is through that entire exchange, John, you had your phone on loudspeaker, not one phone call or message. So
right. They're all standing by.
They're waiting.
We're
now
on air.
There he is with a different perspective on music and memory and maybe learning there with our Professor of Education from the University of Newcastle, John Fischetti, this morning at 2NUR FM 103.7.
A broadcast service of the University of Newcastle.